Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Cole. It's Sunday evening, October 20th. This will be the week 2 announcement for Political Science 1013, Fall 24, the second 8-week term. All right, everybody, it's Sunday. Many of you will be seeing this tomorrow. Tomorrow and Tuesday, we will be running discussion 1. We moved that from the weekend to Monday and Tuesday. We didn't want to conflict with fall break. Hope everybody got that announcement. It will be tomorrow and Tuesday. And we're asking you to look at an article about the potential for political violence after the election. Do you think that's likely? Do you think it could ever be justified, such a thing? Okay. Remember in Unit 1 we talked about unconventional means of participation that can spill over into violence. So we're looking at that for discussion 1. And that will be tomorrow and Tuesday, the 21st and 22nd. Then our exam will be coming later in the week on Friday. That will be, let's see, the 25th, I believe. Monday's the 21st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. That's right. Friday the 25th, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check that in just a moment. That's right. Friday the 25th. So, your material for the exam will be the class notes for Units 1 and 2, plus 4 articles you've been asked to look at online. Let me spend a little while talking about the class notes for Unit 2 on political parties and pressure groups. We look at political parties first, and then at pressure groups. We begin by talking about political parties in general and what they do, what functions they serve. We spend quite a bit of time talking about why there are only 2 major political parties in the United States. Okay, and look carefully at that. It comes down to the rules of the game. Okay, there are different types of rules that you could make. One type of rule, which is what we have, will advantage the 2 biggest parties and will be a disincentive to forming any more parties than that. Okay. Other rules that you could make, which you find in many other countries around the world, will give you more than 2 political parties with a significant chance to get their members elected into public office and have an influence on how their political system works. But we have a set of rules that dictates we will only have 2 major parties. However, after that, we spend quite a bit of time talking about our 2 major parties and their history for almost the past 100 years, going back to the 1930s, and the twists and turns they have taken through the decades. You might say that they still have much of the character that they took on in the 1930s, but there have been many changes since then. One question hanging over the system is, has there been or will there be a political realignment? Watch for that term and be sure you understand what it means. Everyone, for the exam, before I go any further, once we finish with political parties, we move to pressure groups. Well, there are 2 major parties and there may be hundreds or even thousands of pressure groups. We mentioned that pressure groups engage in the activity of lobbying or direct contact with public officials. In the federal government, that usually means lobbyists contacting members of Congress. They also will donate money to politicians and engage in advertising campaigns to try to build grassroots support. We try to go through some of the major categories of pressure groups and mention some of the more prominent, bigger individual groups. There is the business sector, the labor sector, the agricultural sector, the professional sector. We've added some material about the technology sector and the sector that would involve one level of government lobbying another, state and local governments lobbying Washington, D.C. Okay, so there are many groups, depending on how you define a pressure group. There are many organizations that engage in political activity sometime, although perhaps that was not their major reason for coming into being. So it's hard to count the exact number of pressure groups. We talk a great deal about the activity of lobbying. We mentioned that We often look at lobbying as corrupt, but lobbyists would say they have an important function to fill, providing information, reliable information, to politicians. And then at the end of the unit, we talk a little bit about the rules and regulations influencing fundraising and campaign finance for political parties and pressure groups. Okay, everybody, for the exam, mainly it'll be based upon your class notes for units 1 and 2 on political participation and on parties and pressure groups. Then you have 4 articles to be accessed online. And everyone, please try to access these articles well before the exam Friday. And if you have any trouble reaching any of these articles or getting them to come up, contact me and I can get that material to you. You have 1 article each about men and women in the upcoming election. There's been quite a lot of talk in the press that men and women are diverging more and more in their political views, so that the gender gap, so-called, is getting bigger and bigger. So we have 1 article to look at about women and another about men. You have an article from the Washington Post by columnist Perry Bacon Jr. about the parties going into the election and what is at issue between them. Everyone, in the class notes, I have a section called something like Democrats and Republicans in the 21st Century, What is at Stake? And you find quite a bit of overlap between those notes, that discussion, and the article you asked to look at by Perry Bacon Jr. from the Washington Post. Finally, we have an article posted on the website of what would describe itself as a public interest pressure group, issue1.com, and they have posted an article about the lobbying activities of the social media companies. Okay, so those 4 articles, expect 10 or 15 items about them on the exam, and the rest will come from the class notes for units 1 and 2. 24 hours on Friday, combination of true, false, and multiple choice questions, mostly true, false, and you have 24 hours on Friday the 25th to take the exam. Okay, please try to access those articles and be sure you can reach them and look at that material, and contact me if you're having any trouble. Discussion on Monday and Tuesday, and the exam on Friday. So, contact me with any questions, problems, or issues through the course website or at david.cole@opsu.edu. Good luck on the exam, study hard, take it easy, and we'll talk to you once again this coming weekend. So the exam will be over and we'll be looking at material for the midterm. All right, good luck please hope you'll take part in the discussion, and good luck on the exam.